The night Olivia Maddox came home, thunder cracked across the Vermont hills like a warning. I'd been polishing the glass on the entry door when headlights swept the porch. A black SUV rolled to a stop, spitting gravel against the steps. Out climbed a girl in denim jacket, her hair tangled from the rain. She froze when her eyes landed on me. "Are you kidding?" she blurted, voice sharp as broken glass. "This is who's been living in my room?" Behind her, Mr. and Mrs. Maddox tumbled out, umbrellas useless against the downpour. Their faces glowed with a kind of desperate joy. "Liv, honey," Mrs. Maddox said, gripping her daughter's hand. "Please, come inside. We finally found you." But Olivia yanked free, trembling. "Don't honey me. Who is she?" She jabbed a finger toward me. "Camille," Mr. Maddox answered carefully. "She's been with us a long time. She helped while we were searching for you." "Helped?" Olivia laughed, bitter and wet. "So you just replaced me, a charity case to warm my bed while I was gone?" I set the cloth down and met her glare. "I'm not a charity case. My dad works here. I only live above the garage." The storm flung rain through the doorway, soaking my shoes. Olivia's gaze flicked to the man behind me, Elias, my father, the estate caretaker. He straightened in his worn jacket, protective. "So you're the caretaker's kid," she said slowly, like tasting something sour. "Good, because I'm about to make something clear. I'm the Maddox's only daughter. Whatever you thought you were here, it ends tonight." Her words sliced through the foyer. Mrs. Maddox gasped, clutching her husband's sleeve. "Olivia, that's enough," Mr. Maddox said, voice cracking like the thunder outside. Another voice floated from the staircase, a small boy no more than 10, hugging a stuffed fox. "Liv, you whispered? You came back?" "Who's that?" Mrs. Maddox said quickly. "Connor, your brother."
"My what?" Olivia's face went pale. She looked from Connor to her parents, then back at me. "You had another kid after I disappeared?" Connor shrank against the banister, the fox clutched tight. His eyes brimmed with hurt. Did you only want me because she was gone?" "Mrs. Maddox, no!" Mrs. Maddox hurried to gather him, whispering assurances, but Olivia stood frozen, rain dripping from her jacket, a storm behind her eyes. "I don't understand. All those years I prayed someone would come for me, and you were here starting over?" Mr. Maddox stepped forward, palms out. "Liv, we never stopped searching. You were stolen from us. We'd have burned the world down to get you back." Something unreadable flickered in Olivia's gaze. Fear, anger, maybe something darker. She pressed her hands to her temples as if a migraine split her skull. "They said not to remember. Every time I try, it's like knives in my head." Rain hammered the roof while silence spread through the hall. Then Olivia lifted her eyes, glinting with a secret none of us understood. "They're coming for me," she whispered. Before we could ask who, the porch lights snapped off, plunging us into darkness. For a heartbeat, none of us moved. The foyer was black except for the faint lightning strobes leaking through the curtains. "Dad?" Connor's voice trembled. "Why did the lights go out?" "Breaker must have tripped," Elias said, already reaching for the flashlight clip to his belt. The beam flared, cutting through the dark, catching Olivia's pale face. She hadn't blinked since the bulb died. Mrs. Maddox tried to steady her voice. "Liv, sweetheart, you're safe. No one's coming." "You don't know that," Olivia hissed. She backed against the door, drenched hair plastered to her cheeks. Mr. Maddox rubbed a hand over his jaw. "Find you? Who?" Lightning cracked again, throwing Olivia's shadow huge across the ceiling. For an instant, I swore the shape looked wrong, like antlers sprouting from her head. Then the flash was gone. "Olivia," Mrs. Maddox said softly, "no one followed you from the shelter, I promise." Olivia shook her head violently. "Not the shelter. The people who kept me. They don't let anyone leave."
Elias motioned toward the hallway. "Let's get everyone into the study. There's a lock on that door." We hurried, shoes squeaking on the hardwood. Connor clung to his stuffed fox, staring at Olivia, as though she might vanish again. Inside the study, books towered to the ceiling, and a fire smoldered low in the grate. Mr. Maddox closed the door and slid the bolt. Elias checked the windows. I perched on the edge of a leather chair, heart thudding. "Olivia, how long were you with them?" She collapsed onto the rug, wrapping her arms around herself. 7 years, maybe more. Time didn't work right there." "7 years?" Mrs. Maddox whispered, tears shining. "My baby." "Don't cry for me," Olivia said, her voice brittle. "Cry for the others. They never got out." A silence heavier than the storm pressed on us. Then Connor piped up, brave and small. "Liv, you can stay here now. Daddy will keep you safe." Something in Olivia's posture softened, but only for a second. She scanned each of us like she was counting pieces on a chessboard. "I shouldn't have come," she said at last. "Bringing me here puts everyone in danger." Mr. Maddox crouched by her side. "Whatever happened, we'll handle it together. You're home." Her lips twitched, half gratitude, half doubt. "You don't get it." She lowered her voice until we leaned closer. "They don't lose things. If I'm gone, they'll look until they take me back." A branch scraped the window. Elias flicked his flashlight toward the sound, but saw only rain-slicked glass. Then the phone on the desk rang. We all jumped. A landline, ancient and silent for years, now shrilled through the study. Mr. Maddox picked up slowly. "Hello?" Static hissed, followed by a man's low drawl. "Return what's ours." He slammed the receiver down, face white.
What did they say? Mrs. Maddox asked. Before he could answer, Olivia rose, trembling. It's them. They already know I'm here.
Thunder rolled above us and the fire guttered out, leaving only the storm light flickering against Olivia's terrified eyes. The storm rattled the windows as if testing the locks. Olivia stood frozen in the fire's dying glow, her hands balled into fists. Liv, Mr. Maddox said gently, look at me. Who are these people? She flinched at his voice, then shook her head. You wouldn't believe me. Try us, Elias said, steady as stone. He set his flashlight on the table so the beam lit Olivia's face. Her eyes darted between us, weighing something. Finally she spoke, voice low. They called themselves The Orchard, a group that takes kids, smart ones, creative ones, and raises them like projects. They make you memorize codes, maps, strange chants. They said we were seeds meant to grow into something powerful. I felt the hair on my neck rise. Why would anyone do that? Olivia hugged her arms tighter. Money? Control? I don't know, but I was their best seed. They didn't expect me to run. Mrs. Maddox sat on the rug beside her, brushing damp hair from her daughter's face. You're safe now. We'll get the police. No, Olivia's voice cracked so loud Connor jumped. You don't understand. The Orchard has people inside everything. Cops, courts, hospitals. If they know you called for help, they'll burn this house to the ground. Elias grimaced. Then we protect ourselves. Mr. Maddox turned to him. How? First we secure the property, he said, then we find out if Liv brought a tracker or something on her. Olivia paled. They used to make us swallow tiny chips in case we ran. Connor whimpered. Mrs. Maddox pulled him close, but her eyes were on Olivia. Did they put one in you? I don't know, but if they did, they'll be on their way. Lightning flooded the study, bleaching everything white. For an instant, I thought I saw movement beyond the window, a slim figure at the tree line. I crossed to the glass, heart hammering. Rain blurred the world, but I could swear someone stood out there watching. Elias, I said quietly.
He joined me, gaze narrowing. Get back. He clicked off the flashlight so the room went dark except for flashes of lightning. We all waited breathless. The figure was gone. Mr. Maddox rubbed his temples. Okay, we need a plan. Camille, take Collar upstairs, keep him calm. Elias checked the generator. Rosalie, he looked at his wife, stay with Liv. I guided Connor toward the door. Halfway up the stairs, he whispered, do you think she's telling the truth? I wanted to say no, that Olivia's story was just trauma talking, but the call on the landline and the shadow outside answered for me. Yes, I think she is. From below came Olivia's voice, raw and urgent. Dad, there's something I didn't tell you. We froze on the steps. What is it? Mr. Maddox asked. They didn't just teach us codes, they made us carry things, packages. I don't know what was in mine, but if I left with it. Her words trailed off as a heavy thud shook the porch, followed by the slow, deliberate creak of the front door. Someone or something was inside the house. The creak echoed through the foyer like a heartbeat. All of us froze where we stood. Connor halfway up the staircase, Olivia pale in the circle of stormlight. Elias moved first. He drew the small pistol he kept clipped under his jacket, a habit from his years in the Marines. Stay put, he ordered quietly. I'm coming with you, Mr. Maddox said, voice tight. No, Elias replied. If this is who Liv thinks it is, they'll want leverage. Keep the kids back. I pulled Connor against me, feeling his little body tremble. Don't make a sound, I whispered. Elias slipped into the hall, flashlight off, gun low. He vanished like smoke. We waited, listening to the rain tap the windows and the clock tick too loud. Downstairs, Olivia whispered, I didn't bring them here on purpose. Mrs. Maddox stroked her arm. I know, sweetheart. Mr. Maddox glanced toward the doorway. Elias? Silence. Then a soft scuff of boots across the entryway floor. Elias's voice carried back, low and urgent, two of them masks, one by the kitchen door, one near the coat closet. My breath caught. There was more than one. Mr. Maddox crouched next to Olivia. If they came for you, what do they want? They'll try to take me, she said, panic flaring in her eyes, but if I don't have what they're after, she hesitated, biting her lip hard enough to draw blood. Mrs. Maddox coaxed, Olivia, what did you bring? Her fingers dug into the carpet. A flash drive. They forced me to carry it when I escaped. I don't even know what's on it. Mr. Maddox swore under his breath. Another thud came from the kitchen, drawer handles rattling. Someone was searching. Elias reappeared at the foot of the stairs. They're splitting up, one's headed this way. Take Connor, she whispered to me. Get him into the attic crawl space, lock it behind you. I nodded, tugging the boy to the second floor. As we crept up, his fox toy dragged against the wood, leading a wet streak. Below, Olivia rose unsteadily. She won't stop if I hide, she said, more to herself than anyone. Stay put, Mr. Maddox warned, we'll handle this. A sudden crash came from the parlor, glass shattering, furniture toppling. Connor whimpered and I clamped a hand over his mouth. Move, I urged softly, steering him into the narrow hallway. We squeezed into the crawl space, barely big enough for two. Dust filled my throat as I pulled the panel closed. Through a slit, I saw Elias stalking the shadows with his weapon raised. Lightning flared, revealing a tall intruder in a slick raincoat stepping into the study doorway. He didn't rush, he simply looked around, eyes glinting through the slits of a black mask. Olivia stiffened. I know that one, she breathed.
Man tilted his head like an owl and lifted a gloved finger to his lips, a command for silence. Then he held up a small silver device, a tracker, blinking red, and pointed it straight at Olivia. Found you, he said, his voice calm as a storm screamed outside. The man's voice was almost casual, but it hit the room like a gunshot. Olivia shrank against the sofa, shaking her head. No, I don't have anything. He advanced slow and steady, tracker light pulsing red across the walls. Behind him, another figure slipped through the kitchen doorway, smaller, wiry, holding a steel baton. Elias shifted position, gun raised, put it down, step away from the girl. The intruder in the mask chuckled. You don't want to do that, old man. I really do, Elias replied, voice like iron. Mr. Maddox moved closer to his wife and daughter, shielding them with his body. Mrs. Maddox's knuckles whitened on powder-stuffed animal. She'd taken it from him when I had hidden the boy in the crawl space. Olivia's eyes started toward me through the slot in the wall. Camille, she mouthed, barely audible, under the rug. I blinked. She gestured faintly with her chin toward the edge of the hearthrug, the drive. While the men's attention stayed on Elias, I slipped out of the crawl space and crawled silently down the hall. Lightning gave me just enough light to see the frayed corner of the rug. I dug my fingers underneath and felt cool metal. The drive was tiny, wrapped in tape. A floorboard squealed behind me. I froze. The wiry intruder had broken away from the first and was heading toward the hall, toward me. I shoved the drive into my pocket and eased backwards. Below, Elias and the taller man circled each other, tension stretched taut as a bowstring. You're not taking her, he said. We don't need her. We only need what she stole. Olivia swallowed. If I give it back, you'll leave.
Hand it over, the man said. Maybe. Mr. Maddox stepped forward. Don't believe him. I have to, Olivia whispered. She started toward the hearth, but I was already there, crouched low. I shook my head at her, pressing a finger to my lips. Elias noticed and gave the tiniest nod. Hold on. The wiry intruder lunged suddenly, grabbed Olivia by the arm. She gasped and twisted, kicking at his shin. Mr. Maddox leapt, grappling the attacker, setting them both crashing against a bookcase. The tall man turned his head toward the commotion, and Elias took the opening. The gun roared, deafening in the small room. The intruder staggered back, clutching his side, but didn't fall. Instead, he smiled, a strange cricket thing, and pressed a button on the tracker. A faint beep echoed through the house. "What did you do?" Elias balked. The man's eyes glittered behind the mask. Insurance. Olivia's face went white. She armed something. Somewhere below the floor, a new sound began, a slow mechanical whir like gears grinding awake. "Basement," Elias said, already moving. "He's triggered something in the basement." The taller man straightened despite his wound. "Too late," he murmured. "Shouldn't have hidden what wasn't yours." A muffled clang came from beneath the floorboards, followed by a low rumble that shook dust from the rafters. Mr. Maddox grabbed Olivia's hand. "Everyone out, now!" But before anyone could move, the house lights flickered on, bathing everything in a sickly yellow glow. On every wall, red dots of laser light appeared, crossing over furniture, floor, and faces, targeting all of us. For a heartbeat, we all stared at the glowing dots peppering the room. They quivered across bookshelves, the rug, even Connor's abandoned fox. "Everybody down," Elias shouted. He grabbed Mrs. Maddox and dragged her behind the sofa just as a sharp click echoed from the walls. I dove flat, shielding Connor's toy like it was him. Mr. Maddox yanked Olivia to the floor. A second later, the light swept in unison toward the center of the study, converging on the hearth. A mechanical voice, calm and genderless, filled the house. "Asset located, retrieve package." The wounded intruder bared his teeth in a grin. "See, they don't even need us anymore." Elias rose halfway, gun steady. "Who are you working for? The Orchard doesn't work for anyone. We are the network." His partner, the wiry one, snatched for Olivia again. She twisted free, scrambling behind the desk. "I don't have it," she cried. "Leave my family alone." The voice repeated, "Retrieve package." I felt the tiny flash drive pressing against my thigh inside my pocket. Every muscle screamed to keep it hidden, but the lasers were tightening their straight toward where I knelt. Elias clocked my glance and shook his head once, warning. He crept toward the hearth, eyes never leaving the wounded man. Mr. Maddox helped Olivia to her feet. We're getting out through the storm door now. Before we could move, the house lurched, an unseen mechanism grinding beneath us. A section of floor slid back, revealing a square shaft plunging into darkness. A rush of stale air billowed up, carrying the smell of wet soil and something chemical. Connor whimpered from the crawl space. I whispered, "Stay hidden," praying he couldn't see the guns or red lights. The wiry man dropped into the opening without hesitation. The wounded one staggered after him. "Stop," Elias barked, but they were already gone, vanishing into the shaft. The mechanical voice changed smoother now, almost coaxing. "Asset, descend. Return what belongs." Olivia shook her head violently. "No, I'm not going back."
Mr. Maddox tightened his grip on her hand. "You don't have to." Then the floor panel began to slide shut again, as if sealing the hole forever. Elias lunged forward, bracing it with his shoulder. "Go," he growled. "Find out what's under there before it locks." Olivia looked at me, wide-eyed. "Camille, you've got the drive, don't you?" I hesitated only a second, then pulled the tiny tape-wrapped stick from my pocket. Her gaze hardened with resolve. "They won't stop unless we destroy whatever's on this." "But how?" I asked. She nodded at the closing shaft. "We start by seeing where they're taking it." Elias strained against the panel, veins standing out in his arms. "Decide, now." Thunder cracked outside, rattling every window. I shoved the drive into my jacket and slid toward the opening, heart racing. Olivia followed, her hair wild, eyes shining with fear and defiance. Together we stared down into the black, where faint metal rungs gleamed. Above us, the voice gave a final instruction. "Descent initiated. Target may not escape." The floor jerked, sending Elias off balance. Olivia and I lost our footing and tumbled into the darkness as the panel slammed shut overhead. We slid down a chute of slick wood and steel, landing hard on damp soil. Darkness wrapped around us, broken only by a faint green glow deeper underground. Olivia scrambled up first, brushing dirt from her jacket. "This isn't part of the house," she whispered. My heart hammered so loud I barely heard her. The air smelled of moss and burnt wires. Behind us, the shaft sealed with a clang, no way back. From somewhere ahead came the scrape of boots. A narrow corridor stretched away, its walls lined with old brick and humming cables. I caught a glimpse of the two masked men limping through an arched door. "They're taking it to a hub, a place where they read the drives." "How do you know?" "Because I built part of it," she said, voice flat. "They made me design escape routes. I memorized every inch." A low tremor shook the tunnel, dust rained from the ceiling. "Whatever's running down here, it's big," I said. Elias's voice came faintly from above, muffled by the sealed floor. "Camille, Liv, hold on, we're finding another way." Olivia grabbed my wrist. "We can't wait for them. If the Orchard uploads what's inside that stick, everyone becomes a target. Your dad, my parents, even Connor." We crept forward, following the glow. The corridor opened into a chamber filled with machines, blinking servers, humming turbines, cables snaking across wet stone. In the center stood a table with a single reader device, waiting. The wounded intruder staggered toward it, clutching his side. The wiry man held out a gloved hand. "Give it." I tucked the flash drive deeper into my pocket and stepped out of the shadows. "Looking for this?" Their heads snapped toward me. Olivia shoved an old pipe into my hand. "If they get it, we're done," she whispered. The wiry man lunged. I swung wildly, catching him across the arm. Sparks flew as his baton hit the floor. Olivia seized the moment, darting to the table. She smashed the reader with the pipe, sending shards skittering. "No upload tonight," she yelled. The wounded now roared, pulling a knife. Before he could reach us, a track door overhead burst open. Elias dropped through, rifle raised, Mr. Maddox right behind them. "Step away from the girls," Elias barked. For a split second, everything froze. Red alarms flashing, machines whining, intruders poised. Then a deafening alarm blared, bathing the chamber in crimson light. "Containment breach. System announced. Purge sequence in 30 seconds. "Purge!" I gasped. "They're wiping the whole place," Olivia said. Elias fired a warning shot. "Everyone out! Up that ladder!"
Mr. Maddox hauled Olivia toward the exit. I scrambled after them, the drive clenched tight in my fist. The intruders melted into the shadows instead of fleeing.
We climbed fast. At the top, Elias slammed the hatch just as a roar shook the ground below. Heat flared through the metal rungs as the chamber was swallowed by fire. Bursting into the storm, we collapsed on the wet grass behind the house. Smoke leaked from hidden vents in the earth. Mrs. Maddox clutched Olivia, sobbing. Connor ran from the porch and wrapped tiny arms around us all. I opened my palm. The flash drive was scorched but intact. Olivia met my eyes, rain mixing with tears. That's only part of what they wanted, she said. There are more drives, more kids. From somewhere in the woods came a single echoing whistle, 3 rising notes answered by silence. Olivia's face went white. They're not finished. Thunder rolled again as we stared into the trees, knowing the storm wasn't over.